What's good, guys? I'm Josh.
And I'm Joe.
We are the Healing Dudes. Today, we're going to talk about the truth behind healing Lyme disease and chronic illness.
Yeah.
This is a subject that both Joe and I are very, very familiar with. I've had Lyme for 17 years, as had Joe.
Yep.
We're both diagnosed with everything from chronic fatigue syndrome, MS, fibromyalgia, long COVID. So we're going to kind of open up the can of worms. You know, we believe that healing from a lot of chronic illnesses, not all, but the majority, generally comes down to the same point. Joe?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what we wanted to create this video for mainly was to help people that are stuck, they're struggling, and they're looking for, hope and belief. Everyone goes down these different rabbit holes when they're trying to heal. And we want people to help people get away from that because, that's something we've done. That's something we've seen people do. And everyone's out there just fishing for answers. If you go to, this forum, it'll be this sort of treatment. If you go somewhere else, they'll be like, you're missing this. And what we realized in our own healing journey is that it's a more simplified approach than you would actually realize.
Right.
There isn't, some sort of magical treatment out there for chronic Lyme disease. There is not some sort of magical treatment out there for long COVID, chronic illness. Everyone across the internet is scouring for answers, but we have worked with a lot of people. We have healed ourselves, and we have seen what works and what does not work. And that's what we want to kind of impart the wisdom on you guys, is to understand that healing doesn't have to be so complicated, and it may be more simple than you realize. It doesn't mean it's easy to do. And that's what we want to kind of go through on this video.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of giving a brief but broad spectrum on the treatments that we've tried in terms of chronic illness and just what hasn't worked. And as Joe was talking about, unfortunately, when we get chronically sick, the doctors tell you that your labs are fine. You feel like absolute death, but you're not getting answers from going to doctor to doctor. And ultimately, we're looking for that magic pill that helps us get better. But Joe and I have scoured the internet, searched information, and talked to people over a period of 17 years each, almost 40 years accumulative, and found that there really is no quick fix to getting better, that it does require a lot of work. And that makes people upset because people think, I should just be able to take this pill and get better. But unfortunately, in modern society, the idea to take a pill and that you feel better, it just doesn't work for chronic illness that way. So we've tried everything from, and not to say that there's not merit in these treatments, but we just have found they didn't bring us to complete remission, whether it's hyperbaric oxygen, right, ozone, antibiotics, IV antibiotics. And, let me say, we're not doctors. We're obviously just patients that are sharing our experiences. And,
we've got PhDs in chronic illness, though,
Yeah, exactly. And, we've tried all these different treatments. And what happens is you burn out both mentally, physically, and financially. And what we see is that getting better isn't that expensive. Like, it doesn't have to be. We really stumbled upon mind-body healing and neuroplasticity, and we thought that it was pretty woo-woo in the beginning. But as we began to dig further, the science behind it is absolutely astounding. And before you think, oh, these are two guys, they don't know how long we suffered. I've been in multiple ambulance rides, in and out of the ER, on and off of disability. Joe can relate to that too. And, for many years, the extent of my life was from the bed to the couch, from the couch to the bed. If I took a shower twice a week that week, it was a good week. I couldn't even walk and touch the stop sign. Like, life was hopeless. And our story is pretty incredible, which, we'll share a little bit more of that as we go along in other videos. But we want to let you guys know that are suffering. If you're watching this, there is hope. You can get better, regardless of how sick you are with Lyme. And like I said, with most chronic illness, you can get better. Unfortunately, what happens is when we wake up in the morning and we're prescribed to the idea that we're sick, that we're never going to get better, we sit and we talk to all of our online buddies about illness. We're constantly thinking about our symptoms. Of course, you're going to feel terrible. Now, are you going to think your way out of physical illness? No, absolutely not. We're not gaslighting you. But we are telling you that there is a very, very powerful tool that can be used that can help you get better. Joe?
Yeah, exactly. And, before we go really, really into that, a lot of people, when you get chronically ill, you kind of stop living. You kind of wait around for this magic pill, this treatment. You go through this, you go to doctor to doctor to doctor, and we're just looking for answers for all of us. When we get sick, we're trying to find that answer of what is causing our chronic illness. Usually it doesn't come from the doctor. Usually it comes from seeing alternative medicine doctors or even our own research and things like that. And then we land on a diagnosis, and now it's trying different treatments, going to this doctor, spending thousands of dollars. And I did that for years. I did that for about 4 or 5 years. I originally was diagnosed with Lyme disease back in 2005. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And I stumbled upon, mind body healing. And I started reading stories of people with all sorts of chronic illnesses, not just Lyme disease, but people with like MS, chronic fatigue syndrome, and all of these things. And
Long COVID.
This was back before even COVID. Now it's long COVID. Yeah. This is a new thing, but it applies to that as well. And I started stumbling upon these stories of people getting better. And they had commonalities. And that's what we're going to talk about, what we used to heal, what we've used to help heal ourselves, what we've seen work for other people. And we want to help share that knowledge with you guys so you don't get caught in the same, rabbit holes of, it's mold, it's, viruses, it's heavy metals, it's, I have genetic issues. It's, in some ways, it's a lot of things, but in a lot of ways, it's one thing to help you heal. Well, it's more than one thing, but it's this way to help all of these things heal. When our bodies are chronically inflamed and we have all of this dysregulation, and our health is so bad, we're dealing with anxiety, depression. Now we're in focus on our symptoms and on how we feel all day, and we're in this constant state of stress. Our body just can't heal. So there's a lot of things that we do and what we've seen to help people heal, and we'll kind of break that down as we go on. We also just want to share that, anyone in any walk of life, that wherever you're at with your chronic illness can begin to heal utilizing these methods. And it's a vague, I know a lot of people are probably thinking this is so vague. It's a vague term, mind body healing, nervous system regulation, neuroplasticity. I don't get what that means. We're going to try to break it down for you guys in this video so that you understand the methods, the methodology, and the things that can really help you heal. The one thing I want to say before we even go into that, healing chronic illness, it's hard work. It is not linear. It's up, it's down. We'll go into that a little bit in this video as well, because people, when they go into this world of mind-body healing, of neuroplasticity, of nervous system retraining, and all of these things, they think, if I just do this, I'm going to heal, and it's just going to slowly get better. Just like any treatment, just like any chronic illness, it's up, it's down. And we want to spread the truth about what healing is like. It's sometimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But in the continual work that we're going to share, it's staying consistent that really helps. So I'll leave it at that, and then we'll start diving into specifically what these methods are surrounding mind-body healing, nervous system, neuroplasticity. So
as we kind of go on this journey, and for most of you guys, and our heart breaks, if you're watching this and you're suffering and you're digging for hope, we encourage you guys to watch the end, because Joe and I were there. For you guys that don't know our story briefly, I've been sick for 17 years, and I got out of all the chronic illness communities. I was in Lyme communities, heavy metal communities, mold, all these different things. And it never did anything but help me obsess about more things that I need to check out. And are all those things valid? Yes, there's microplastics in your water, and there's stuff in top. We understand that, and we believe that. And obviously these things should be avoided. It's when it becomes an obsession about each one of these things, and we've got to get better, I've got to do this, you end up burning out. And it's very rare that I've met someone that sits and does all that work and they come back and they're like, I am better, I'm healed.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't, because, until we address this, and this controls this, we don't really get better. Getting sick is a very traumatic experience, whether you lose, your spouses, your family, your friends, your life completely changes. And for Joe and I, things were really shifted. I never got better. I started talking to people that were getting better. And this is what led me down the road of mind, body healing and neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Stopped searching out people that had the same symptoms as me. And I started searching out people that got better. And we found some commonalities along the line. Now, we're not going to sit here and tell you like that meme says, you shove kale up your butt and do yoga, you're going to get better. We don't believe that at all. But it does take a lot of work on your part. Yeah. And this is where we talk about what it takes to help heal chronic illness and the truth behind it. Yeah. So Joe had gotten long COVID and he relapsed. He'd gotten better. He has a great book that's out there called It's All in My Head. And he kind of chronicles his journey with that. But he got really sick. He came down here. Long story short, he came to live with me and we decided, hey, look, we've got no other option but to try and heal. Yep. And we realized and believed that it was indeed possible and started doing the work. So a lot of people will tell you, hey, look, you're chronic, you're going to have it the rest of your life. We don't believe that at all. Now, to what degree do you get better? And this is the truth. We don't actually know that. And I don't think that anybody can tell you, hey, look, yes, you get 100% better and you stay 100% better than the rest of your life. I don't believe that. I think that you can get to a functional 75, 80% and then manage the rest of your life. And for you guys that are at 20, 30, even 40%, that's a drastic life change. You're able to get out, you're able to live your life, you're able to do things. So this is kind of the truth behind it, is that if you're trying to aim for that 100%, we're not saying that it's impossible. I just haven't really seen it a lot, but I have seen people get back to a functional level where they're able to go back to work, where they're able to go vacation,
normal lives,
concerts. Yeah, they live a normal life. So if that's your goal and that's what you want, definitely listen. So how do we get to that point? Yeah. Well, it can be a journey, but the first thing is if there is not a belief that you can get better, you're definitely not. If your belief system is that you're going to be stuck in this and that you're the worst case scenario and that nobody understands how bad you're suffering, you're going to stay there, because I was there. Yeah. I was in that pit. I lived on the couch. I hated my life. I didn't want to live anymore. That's where I was at. And it wasn't until I just had a little bit of hope that spurred me towards the belief that led me to do the work. Joe, you want to talk about some of the work, bro?
Yeah, exactly. So neuroplasticity, nervous system regulation, all of these terms are new, sort of hot fad terms. But basically what we're trying to do is get ourselves out of stress, rewire our brains to believe that we can heal, take action on goals in life to show our body that we're healing, get out of that state of dysregulation where we're constantly stuck in fight or flight, where our body's, dysregulated. We're waking up with anxiety every day, focusing on the doom and gloom. And it's a process of rewiring our brains. We do this through many exercises and things, and you'll hear other people have different tools and all this stuff, and there are different programs out there that will can assist people in these things if they're new to it and they need to follow a program. I healed myself years ago without a program, with just rewiring my brain and doing the healing work. So for a lot of us, we get stuck in that state Josh had mentioned, where you wake up, doom scroll, focus on your symptoms, focus on how bad you feel. The number one thing that people need to do is begin to let go of that identity of a chronic illness person. You can do that multiple ways, but ultimately it has to become a choice from you to make that decision.
That, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Joe.
Yeah, no.
You're not a Lyme, that you're not a chronic illness warrior. No, like you got to stop adopting that identity. You're a healing individual.
Exactly. And that was one of the first and biggest shifts I made before I even began this journey was I'm done associating with my chronic illness. I'm done living as a victim. And so making that shift is so key. From there, it's now accessing your mind, your subconscious mind, rewiring old pathways that get you stuck in that loop of negativity, fearing your symptoms, focusing on your symptoms, and all of that sort of stuff. We do that through multiple methods. Some are gratitude practices, that we do every day, where we write down things we're grateful for. That little shift gets you out of that focus of negativity, doom and gloom, even if it's just for a little bit. And the more you make that practice, the more you notice positives throughout your day.
Right.
And it's hard. I get it. Guys, when we're sick, we're struggling. It's hard to find things we're grateful for. you got to do it anyway. You have to begin to rewire your brain to look for the positives, to see, that there are good things in your life and find those glimmers of hope. The other aspect of this that Josh and I are huge on is meditation and visualization. So not only, is meditation just good for calming the nervous system and all of this stuff. There's studies from Harvard, from everywhere, about the studies of both not only gratitude, but meditation for healing, getting you out of a state of anxiety, depression, all of this stuff. You guys can look it up. You don't have to take our word for it. Yeah. But when you begin to meditate and visualize showing yourself health in when you're meditating, and that's what we believe in, is a more of a visualization based meditation. Some people like to do past visualizations, like remembering of times they were healthy. And that's good and all well, but we want people to be able to envision themselves healthy in the future, free from their chronic illness, overcoming that. And that's something that's been really, really helpful for both me and Josh. We've seen it with countless people, and that's something that we have noticed is a practice that people that heal, they really implement that visualizing themselves healthier, getting better, achieving goals once again, getting out of their chronic illness state and focusing on the future of when they're healthy. Those two shifts in alone will help rewire your brain. There are different ways to add on to that, but those are really, really key. Josh, you want to talk about some of the other things, like movement?
Yeah, for sure. Sure. So like Joe said, when someone told me about gratitude, I'm like, so I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be grateful and that's going to change me.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a scientific shift that happens when you choose to open a gratitude journal or actually just express gratitude instead of getting on your phone, doom scrolling. Because what happens when you're chronically sick is the first thing you do when you wake up is your mind gravitates to your symptoms, how you feel, how gloomy the day is going to be, what you've got to do. And then the next thing you do is you get on Facebook or wherever and you start scrolling through your chronic illness friends and the support groups, and they're not really support. It's just an echo chamber of suffering. And where do you think your mind goes? You're not a grateful person. You're not a happy person. So when we choose to not get on our phone first thing in the morning and we shift towards gratitude, it doesn't change in a day. It doesn't change in a week, but 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month out, you begin to switch first thing in the morning from becoming a negative, and not everybody that's sick is negative, but for the most part, you're suffering. So why wouldn't you be a person that feels sorry for themselves and sick, and you begin to shift to a grateful person, and there is both a physical and mental shift that happens. So it is a practice that takes time, and in this journey, there's 2 things that you're going to notice that we talk about. You have to do the work, and you have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, it doesn't work.
Doing gratitude like once, a week is not enough.
You do it for a week, it's not going to do anything. You're literally, there's a roof over my house, and I've got warm blankets. It's not going to matter. But when you actually make that shift into becoming a grateful person, and it becomes a habit and a ritual, you'll see the shift. Same thing with meditation. So it's not like we expect you to sit on a mat and om all night. No, when we visualize ourselves being healthy, and we suggest that you do it in the morning and the night, when you do this every single day, morning, night, for a month, 2 months, and you're calming your nervous system down, you're stopping the flow of adrenaline and cortisol, dumping into your bloodstream, things shift. But what happens is when you visualize yourself living the life that you want to, regardless of your symptoms, as long as your doctor's cleared you, regardless of your symptoms, things shift. You begin to get out and begin to live life. Like Joe said, when we get chronically sick, what happens is like we hit a wall and life completely stops. And we have all this trauma associated with our chronic illness and hospitals and what we can eat and where we fear and, oh my gosh, are we going to die? And we stop living our lives. We live our lives on our couch and our bed. Maybe some of you guys work, but you suffer through and you fight through every day. And in meditation, one of the things that we teach is to surrender. We surrender during there and we visualize the life that we want. And then we begin to pursue it. It's not like a bull in a china shop. It's a marathon. It's a 1% better every single day. So then we believe, Joe has his master's in nutrition. And one of the biggest things that we teach is you've got to change your diet. You cannot heal eating a garbage diet. Now, what's difficult is, unfortunately, yes, we're aware of histamine issues and all these different things. And, if you're reacting to foods, by all means, don't do it. But what happens is we become fearful of food. So there's 2 spectrums. Either for people with chronic illness, food is our comfort because we have nothing else. So we eat a ton of garbage and, we're just like, I'm sick anyways. Why not? It is inflammatory. It's terrible for your body. And
Yep.
there's absolutely no way that you can heal putting garbage in. Food is energy, and it's either going to help you or harm you. So if you're not getting the nutrition that you need, it is very difficult. The gut-brain connection is a very, very real thing. All your neurotransmitters are coming from there. So if you have leaky gut syndrome, if you have all these issues with, a gut, leaky gut syndrome, some of you guys have been on antibiotics, you cannot heal that eating trash. Yeah. So we talk about eating a low inflammatory diet. If you guys check us out on social media, at the Healing Dudes on Instagram, we talk about diet a lot more on there and kind of what we eat. Yeah. But diet's huge. Low inflammatory diet. You guys can, search that up. We also
we'll probably do a video, specifically on each individual one of these things, but also on nutrition and the gut-brain connection, because it's something that I've studied extensively, as I know Josh has. And
right, it's diet change has changed my life. So that's another thing, and we essentially call these our 4 pillars of healing. So what comes in next is, when we get sick, the majority of us stop exercising because we feel lightheaded, we feel dizzy. And again, we're not doctors. You need to check with, your doctor and make sure that you're fit to do a workout regime. And what we're talking about, a regimen, what we're talking about isn't intensive, guys. It's very, very gentle. When we stop moving, blood flow stops. You're not getting oxygen and nutrient to different areas of your body. Your brain's moving slower. It's stagnant. And you sitting around and laying around is actually more dangerous than the illness itself. Being stagnant is incredibly dangerous. So what we encourage people to do is set the goal of walking a mile in the morning and a mile at night. And the idea of this to many seems so scary. Like, I can't even go outside and walk to my car. You expect me to walk a mile? What did I say? 1% every day. So say you get out and you walk to your car one day, then you walk, 15 steps past that. You're capable of doing it. Now, if you've been laying around for a while, you probably have some atrophy. And like I said, clear it with your doctor. Ask your doctor, hey, doc, can I walk? And he's probably going to say yes. And if he doesn't, there's probably an issue. And I know that some of you guys have with POTS and stuff like that. But the way that we help heal this is through movement. We don't heal POTS and all these other symptoms by sitting around. It actually makes them worse. So you want to strengthen your heart, your body, your muscles, your lungs, all that. We get that by moving. And then what we try to teach people to do is to do yoga or some form of gentle movement. And we don't think that you should go through a 20-minute full-on super hard yoga session. No, some of the poses are super restorative. You've been laying around for a while. The goal is to build back muscle and to get your body strong to be able to go through the journey of getting well. It's not like you do all this and you magically get better. The idea behind this part is we're regulating the nervous system. We're calming things down. We're doing things that are productive to healing. And we get the body to the most optimal state that we're able to get it to by ourselves. And then our immune system does exactly what it's supposed to do. It heals the body. And then, there's people that are going to talk, but you don't know about biofilms and stuff like that. No, I believe that my body is intelligent enough to heal. And I've seen it. Joe's seen it. We've seen it countless times. Now, is it possible that a stealth infection can hide in your cells and, in your tissues? Absolutely so. But by managing your body's response, by doing all these things, what you'll notice is things heal. Things begin to heal. So I use this example often. If I cut my arm, I don't have to think about it healing. It's not like I sit and I meditate and my arm heals. But if I'm in a state of constant stress, if I'm dumping cortisol and adrenaline, if I'm not focused on, just living life and healing, that cut is going to take exponentially longer to heal than if I'm in a state where I'm calm, I'm giving my body nutrients, I'm moving, I'm doing all these things. So keeping that in mind, the last part of this that we talk about when you're on this healing journey is we end up developing a lot of fears associated with our illness, whether it's getting in the car. Some people become agoraphobic. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't drive. I was always dizzy and lightheaded and felt like I was on a boat rocking and just never felt stable. And the hardest part of this is you're never going to feel comfortable enough to start. There's never going to be that moment that you come and you're like, wow, today feels like a great day. I'm going to start. No, you're going to feel like you got beat with a baseball bat. You're going to feel terrible, but no one is coming to save you. No one's going to pull you off the couch And that's the truth about healing this, is it's hard work. And that's why a lot of
It
people
is.
are like, these dudes are so full of it. But, you know, we do run these classes where we help people heal, and we see people that come into these at the very beginning and they can't do, or they think that they can't do it. And then they begin to do it. And next thing you know, they start getting their lives back, and it's a beautiful thing. But it's
Yep.
not a 1 month process or 2 months. It is consistently day in and day out, changing your lifestyle so that you can heal. So a lot of people get angry and they're saying, do the work. Well, a lot of those people were never consistent to show, because even if you don't fully get better, if you prescribe and you do these things and trust in them as much as you would a pill that your doctor gives you, your life is going to change with time. So as we go through this, we develop fears. Oh my gosh, something's going to happen to my heart. I'm going to pass out here. I'm dizzy. Maybe you guys struggle with derealization, depersonalization. Everything feels like you're walking around in a dream. Joe and I know that realm very, very, very well. We'll make a separate video talking just specifically about that topic. So there's all these fears associated about the what ifs. So we sit around our house all day and we think about, if I do this, this will happen, or if I do this, that'll happen, or I can't go here, I feel this. And this is literally the message that we're putting to our brain. We can't, we won't, we will feel terrible. And the longer that you create this beast inside of your mind, the harder it is to actually get past it. So what we have people do is, when they journal first thing in the morning and they write down what they're grateful for, what is one fear that is limiting your life associated with your chronic illness that is preventing you from living? Yes, we know that being sick and not feeling well can be prevented, but you know, there's people out there, guys, that are super inspirational, that don't have legs or arms, that get out and live a full life every single day. We did a live on Instagram with a guy that was a quadriplegic, and he lives a full life. He's a bodybuilder. He still has some things, but he's a very happy individual, and he doesn't sit around and he doesn't feel sorry for himself. And guys, I get it. It sucks to be sick. But when I tell you that no one's coming to save you, I mean it. No one's going to pull you off the couch. No one's going to make you meditate. No one's going to make you go for a walk. No one's going to change your diet. It is you. It is you that has to ultimately be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that you have enough belief to get up and to do these things. And it's not like it's super strenuous, guys. You just have to show up. So when you begin to face these fears, you're going to feel very, very uncomfortable. You have to surrender.
I do want to add on some of this stuff before you go on to the next topic.
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Because facing fears is a big thing, and we really believe that is such a big topic. But I also wanted to touch back on some of the things that you had mentioned before. You know, with diet, nutrition, movement, and all of these things. You know, as people are trying to heal, it seems like a lot. Like we're asking you guys to do a lot. But the thing I will say, and the thing that most people won't tell you about healing, is it's a full lifestyle shift. You know, it's not just doing these things and then you get better and then you go back to what you were doing before. So, this is where the power comes within, specific people and themselves. It's choosing to make these shifts in their lives, choosing to make these radical shifts in their diet to help them as an act of self-love, as an act of self, healing and all of this stuff, versus, just doing stuff, taking a pill. And this is where we wanted to share with people, like, when you begin all this stuff, look at it as it like you're doing a comprehensive thing where you're now helping yourself little by little through the meditation, through gratitude, through movement, through nutrition. And then the last thing, like Josh was talking about, facing fears. You know what I mean? Like getting back into living your life. The one thing I will say about that is 10, 15 years ago when I was sick and I spent years, trying different things to heal. And I was even implementing now some of these methods of neuroplasticity, nervous system retraining, and all these things. There was a moment that helped me get out of the funk of healing, of where I was at. And that was consciously making that decision to begin living my life, even while I'm sick and struggling. And this is where the whole facing fears point Josh was talking about is so, so key, because as you begin living your life and as you begin deciding to reintegrate into the world, again, there's going to be tons of fears associated with that. but we can't wait around, to start living again. And in fact, starting to live while we're, actively symptomatic or healing is actually going to signal safety to the body, to the brain, to everything that your body is healing. And I know a lot of people will think like, well, how am I going to do that? I'm so sick. I'm dizzy. I got vertigo. I've got DPDR. I'm dealing with chronic pain. I'm chronic fatigue. This is our experience and also what we've seen with, I don't even know, hundreds, thousands of people. The body follows suit when you signal safety through all these things and then begin to go in the direction of healing. If you're waiting around to feel better before you take action, it's going to be a long road of just, constantly waiting and pushing it off and, being like, maybe next week I'll feel a little better and I can get back out in the world. That is not the way to heal. And this is something that we tell people, and it's hard. It's hard work, guys. Like, you need to have patience with yourself on this journey. We'll go a little bit into what the healing journey is like as well, because while all of these things that we talk about it seems like a lot, especially for people that are new to chronic illness and just got long COVID or just got Lyme disease or something. It's like, man, you want me to change all of this stuff and you just expect me to heal? There will be some resistance, just as there was resistance probably with Josh and I for a while. But the sooner you can implement these things and have patience with yourself as you're making all of these shifts, the sooner you'll be able to heal, because it is an up and down journey, and this is where I kind of wanted to take it. I didn't mean to interrupt you completely, Josh, but I wanted to impart some of that stuff before, people are just like, oh my God, I got to do all of this stuff. And it's so much to do. And a lot of people will do that. They'll just check out. They'll be like, there's got to be something easier.
Yeah. And there's not, unfortunately.
There's nothing easier.
It is a very difficult journey, guys.
Yeah.
And it took me this long, but it was also difficult in the morning? Getting up, doing my IV antibiotics, flushing my line, taking my supplements, sitting there, making sure my PICC line was wrapped well enough so I could get in the bath and I didn't get it wet, doing all these routines associated around getting up and going to hyperbaric oxygen and then going to get ozone treatment. And then after that, I was going to get a Myers cocktail and doing all these different things that did absolutely nothing for me or might have had just a very small margin of success. Yeah. And it is a healthy lifestyle that you adapt. But when you begin to do these things, when you begin to show gratitude, when you change your diet, when you begin to engage in movement, when you begin to engage in meditation and the rewiring of the brain, it actually becomes something that you love. I look forward to my morning routine and my nighttime routine. It's the one time during the day that is about me. I have 4 kids. So for you guys that say, oh, I'm too busy or I'm too sick, I can't do it. Listen, I have 4 wild kids. Joe knows well, 2 dogs. It gets insane. It gets insane. 2 of them are toddlers. They're probably climbing outside of this room right now, literally waiting to come out. It is busy, yes. But when you begin to do this consistently, you fall in love with the process. Yep. It's not harmful. And once you begin to see that it's starting to help you, there's such a shift. And that's where we come into the last part. And this is, for some, the most difficult part of it is where we have these fears that we have to face. For many of us, we do have a chronic illness, but it is the actual fear that keeps us as sick as we are, because that's what causes the nervous system dysregulation. When we're in that state of heightened fear of, you're anxious about everything. You're depressed. You're having, maybe you're having panic attacks and you're having to call people to come sit with you. Like, that's how I was. Like, I ruined so many relationships because I was always anxious and fearful and needed people to sit with me because I thought that I was dying all the time and nobody got it. So when you begin to face these fears in the beginning, it's going to feel tough. It's going to feel difficult. And that's why we would encourage you guys to find a community of people that are healing. Not a community of people that are sick, that you check in, that are laying in their bed. You guys want to talk about symptoms and stuff like that. It's not going to do anything for you. Meeting someone that can, basically pat you on the back and say, hey, yeah, look, I get that symptom. I'm sorry you get that. It provides a very, very small moment of being, what's the word I'm looking for, Joe?
You're talking about community and having a person.
When, say I have a symptom and I meet you and I talk about this symptom,
when you're like able to commiserate with one another.
So there is a brief feeling good in a moment of knowing you don't take pride in their suffering, but knowing that you're suffering together. That does nothing for you. So you need to find people that are healing, that are going to inspire you, that are going to push you, that are going to hold you accountable to a routine. And fortunately, we've created a community, and it's been absolutely amazing in that. And my friendship with Joe has held me accountable to maintaining this. And without him, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I'm super thankful to be able to have that friendship. But when you begin to go out and face these fears, say, for instance, maybe, like I said, you're full-blown agoraphobic. Maybe you don't drive. Maybe you don't go to the grocery store. Maybe you don't go into buildings because you're worried that there's mold everywhere, or there's chemicals, or you're going to react to perfumes. And I could literally exhaust all my oxygen talking about the fears that we've experienced with some of our students, and then what we've experienced as individuals. And ultimately, the only way to overcome these is to let go when you face them. If you fight them, you're reaffirming in their brain that there is something that's fear, that there's something to fight, that we've created this monster. You have to surrender. You have to experience it. You have to feel the sensations, and you have to remind your body that you're safe, that everything's going to be okay, that this isn't just panic, but we have created these things in our mind after we've become chronically ill that have prevented us from living our life fully, and that continue to keep us sick, that continue to keep our immune system battered down, that continue to keep our body exhausted and ultimately in a state of constant inflammation. See, the stress and the anxiety cause inflammation, and your body stays in an inflamed, dysregulated state. So what all this work does is it helps you calm down the inflammation, calm down the constant anxiety, the worry. And do you feel better automatically? No, but there is some relief. And from that point, we believe that your body does what it's meant to do. It heals. But when you go out and you face these fears, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. You might go out, say, your fear is being in department stores and the bright lights bother your eyes and you just feel like you're going to pass out. And we're not telling, like I said, everything you check with your doctor, and then you come back and you do this work. And none of it's like, none of your doctors are going to tell you, hey, look, yes, you're dying. Maybe some of you guys are in a more severe state, but would you rather live your life glued to your couch or out trying to live your life, even if you're symptomatic? Going back to the people that don't have limbs and are really sick, there's motivational speakers and stuff that live these full lives because they face these fears. They stopped worrying about what people are going to say and think and how they're going to physically feel, and they just want to live because life is short. So as you go out, maybe it's going to the grocery store and you go out and you feel all these intense sensations and you feel like you're going to die. You surrender to that, all right? You surrender to it and you allow it to pass through you, and you do it anyways. You feel the sensations, and ultimately with time, you do it one time, you feel it, it's intense. You do it two times, it's intense. You do it three times, it's not nearly as intense. The fourth time, okay, I'm doing this the fifth time. Hey, great, I did it. Sixth, seventh, you're not even thinking about it anymore. Your body's taking over, your subconscious mind's kicking in, you're forming new neural pathways, and you begin to do these things without fear. And guess what? You might begin to feel less symptomatic. See, what happens is when the brain becomes distracted by what we're actually doing and we're not hyper focused on our symptoms and how we feel and the doom and gloom and panic, guess what? We begin to notice, man, the sun's shining today, or those are beautiful birds, or hey, I really like that car, or whatever. We begin to focus on that. But when we're driving, or we're in the passenger, we're like this, and we're super white knuckled, and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. This is going to happen. We can't experience any of that. So when we're doing this, we let go. We surrender. We understand that nothing is going to happen to us, and then we begin to live our life. And once we face these fears daily, day in and day out, and it's a process. It takes months. You begin to get your life back, and then you begin to pursue the things that you meditate about. We talk about visualizing your future self. And when you see yourself, how does it feel? What are you doing? What do you want to be doing? And then you begin to pursue that, and you begin to face these fears. And that, combined with everything else, you start seeing your life come back. Now, like Joe and I have said, and as we wrap up, it is not easy. Guys, it might be one of the most difficult things that you do in your life. And we're not telling you all your symptoms are going to go away if you do this. But we will tell you that you'll get marginally better by doing this, and your life will improve, and you'll be happier. And guess what? Your immune system in your body is going to be working in unison with your brain. And instead of being focused on how chronically sick you are, you're going to be focused on healing. And you're going to begin to partake in healing activities and try to find people that want to be about healing. And what you notice ultimately is you become a different person. You become a healed person. And to me, after coming off the couch and being sick for 17 years and losing most of my 20s, my 30s, and half of my 40s, I can honestly say that every single bit of those hard days was worth it. And I don't regret the work. I don't.
Yeah.
So do the work. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I want to kind of hop in with the journey as well, because like I said, that this is a process of patience, of consistency, of continually doing the work. And ultimately, it's about letting go of habits, rituals, routines, behaviors, thoughts that are not serving you anymore, and replacing them with habits, rituals, routines, behaviors that are serving you. And this happens through all of the things that we had just mentioned. So if you guys are sick, if you're struggling with a chronic illness, chronic Lyme disease, long COVID, I can bet that most of you, were stressful people prior to getting, whether it was COVID or Lyme disease. You had some habits that were not serving you. You probably had, poor dietary habits, poor lifestyle habits, and it's going to be impossible to heal while doing those things. But this is the time to now figure out what those habits, those rituals, those routines, whether you're eating an inflammatory diet, drinking, smoking, not moving your body, sitting there focusing on doom and gloom, and you just say, I'm done with all of that. I'm going to move in the direction of health through meditation, visualization, gratitude, through moving your body, through eating a healthy anti-inflammatory diet, through facing fears and getting out and living again and recreating a new life. Then your body goes back to that state of homeostasis where you may still have a chronic illness, but now it's able to heal itself. The body can heal itself when you get out of that chronic state of stress, where you're putting stress in your body. There's stress from your focus and your thoughts, and you're doing things that are now helping you calm your nervous system, rewire your brain, your subconscious mind. This is healing. This is how the body heals. This is how we've seen it heal. It is a process. It is not a quick fix. Just like we said in the beginning of this video and throughout, if you're looking for that magic pill, that magic bullet out there for chronic illness, it does not exist. This, what we've seen, is the way to heal. You can start seeing results soon. You can start seeing shifts in your life if you do this type of work. Weeks, months, you're 3 months in, bam, all right, I'm starting to feel better. Symptoms are starting to dissipate. 6 months in, maybe you start feeling even better. Who knows? A year later, you might be living a completely different life, where now you may still be dealing with symptoms, but you may be living an uninhibited life, free of focusing on your symptoms every day, and you're out doing the things you want to be doing again. But it takes work with what you decide to do, and you being your own best healer. And this is what we want to share with people, that are dealing with chronic illness. It is all about you, the choices and the actions that you make on a daily basis consistently. And we wanted to provide our sort of toolkit and our sort of knowledge based on our own experience, what really works. I hope that helps you guys. We'll do some follow-up videos too on some of this stuff to dive deeper into, things like we talked about, nutrition, the gut-brain connection, and, maybe even meditation and whatnot. So
yeah, definitely. We appreciate you guys watching today. If you could do us a favor and you want to see more comment, definitely like, comment, subscribe, share this. We're going to be making more videos that talk about, the whole healing process of chronic illness. Like Joe said, diet. We'll be talking specifically about certain symptoms and what tools we've used to overcome them. We're going to chronicle, our healing journey. Joe and I have come such a long year and a half, and I'm super thankful to be able to have made the progress that we've made. Both him and I feel called to serve the chronic illness community and to help share inspiration and give you guys hope that spurs you towards the belief that you can get better. Until next time, guys, we appreciate you tuning in.